Welcome to the Lost in History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Survivors of the Munich Auschwitz concentration camp, a subcamp of Dachau, greet United States troops of the 42nd Infantry Division on April 30th, 1945. The image records the moment of liberation and the return to freedom after years of confinement. A portable flamethrower being prepared to destroy locusts in Palestine in 1915. The equipment was used as a pest control method during a major locust outbreak in the region that threatened crops and food security. Workers at about 197 feet above the assembly base of the Hindenburg, still the largest man-made vehicle ever to fly. The image shows the impressive scale of the airship and the risky work involved in its construction. This refers to the period right after the Second World War, when millions of people were being displaced across Europe, freed, prisoners, refugees, and populations expelled from territories that changed borders. In 1959, the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, fled Tibet after the failed Tibetan uprising against Chinese occupation. Dressed in his traditional monastic robes, he crossed the Himalayas and reached India, where he received political asylum. A couple sleeps in an air raid shelter during the Second World War. The image shows the protected space used by civilians to stay safe during air attacks, common in many cities affected by the conflict. Construction workers balance on a suspended iron section about 197 feet above the ground in 1907. The image portrays the courage and skill of these laborers at a time when modern workplace safety standards were nearly non-existent. United Kingdom, 1917, a British armaments factory. The image shows workers in large metal parts being produced in a wide industrial hall, illustrating the wartime production effort during the First World War. In the 19th century and the early 20th century, Italy faced severe economic hardship, especially in the South, where rural poverty, unemployment, and lack of land motivated many families to emigrate. Image showing the amount of food two people received per week in the United Kingdom during the Second World War. In 1943. At the time, rationing was strict to ensure everyone had a minimum access to food and that resources were directed to the war effort. A woman walks down a street in a poor area of Harlem in 1965. The image records part of daily life in the New York neighborhood during the 1960s, reflecting its urban and social context of the time. The record shows an unusual propagandistic scene, the leader surrounded by Christmas symbols, something the regime tried to adapt to its ideological narrative, often emptying the Christian meaning and inserting pagan or nationalist elements. Benito Mussolini on a sled in 1937. The photograph shows the Italian leader seated on the wooden equipment in a snowy setting, while other people practice winter activities in the background. The precarious-looking chain bridge at the Hill Temple of Jianyu in China. In the 1930s, the structure consisted of suspended chains linking 2 points requiring balance and care to cross, especially in a mountainous, isolated landscape. 2 bootleg alcohol makers arrested by federal agents near St. Paul, Minnesota. In 1921, the image was recorded during Prohibition in the United States when the production and sale of alcohol were illegal. A Soviet veteran stands near the eternal flame on the anniversary of Victory Day in 1966. The date marked the end of the conflict in Europe and honored those who served and sacrificed during the Second World War. A small holiday comfort for United States troops stationed in Vietnam in 1960s. The scene shows soldiers receiving gifts and festive items sent from home, bringing a moment of connection and relief during service overseas. Hector the Rat, the first French cosmonaut. In 1961, the animal was sent into space as part of scientific experiments to study the effects of space travel on living organisms. Soviet soldiers in a tracked amphibious vehicle, GTSM, feed 2 polar bears with cans of sweetened condensed milk. The scene likely took place in the Soviet Arctic during military or scientific missions, since the GTSM was widely used in icy, inaccessible terrain, such as Siberia and the Arctic Circle. The crew of Apollo 12, the second mission to land and walk on the moon. In 1969, the team consisted of astronauts Charles Pete Conrad, Richard Gordon, and Alan L. Bean, marking another significant advance in the Apollo space program. King Charles III, as a child on the balcony of Buckingham Palace after the coronation of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, in 1953, the scene shows the young prince taking part in the celebrations of one of the most significant moments of the British monarchy in the 20th century. Judith Love Cohen worked on the Atlas Able satellite in 1959 and helped develop the system that saved the Apollo 13 astronauts. In addition to her notable engineering career, she was also the mother of actor Jack Black. The Trans World Airlines terminal at Idlewild Airport in New York, now John Fitzgerald Kennedy International Airport, designed by Eero Saarinen. The building opened in 1962 and remained in service until 2001. With its futuristic design and striking curves, it became an icon of modernist architecture and the golden age of air travel. The lounge area inside a Convair 880 of Trans World Airlines on January 8, 1958, the image shows a passenger space designed for comfort and elegance, reflecting the luxury of air travel at the time. The streamlined Mercury train of the New York Central Railroad passes in front of Syracuse City Hall in 1936. The Mercury was designed with a modern, elegant style for the era, symbolizing speed and innovation in United States rail transportation during the 1930s. A biplane flies over Washington, District of Columbia on October 14, 1910. The scene shows one of the earliest flight demonstrations in the capital of the United States, at a time when aviation was still new to the public. Paris in 1890 with the Eiffel Tower, still brand new at the time. Standing out in the background, the domes, towers, and ornate pavilions in the foreground were part of the elaborate architecture of the 1889 Exposition Universelle, many of which were temporary structures. Elevated trains over the streets of the Bowery neighborhood in Manhattan around 1895, the scene shows the suspended track structure that was part of the city's urban transit system in the late 19th century. A view of the Brooklyn Bridge from Manhattan, showing the structure toward the borough of Brooklyn. The construction opened in 1883, permanently linked the two areas, and became an architectural landmark of New York City. Brian May, Tony Iommi, and Eddie Van Halen in 1978, the image brings together three legendary guitarists, each with a unique style that marked the history of rock and influenced generations of musicians. Aretha Franklin in 1980. The image portrays the Queen of Soul at a moment in her career, marked by successes and performances that further cemented her legacy in world music. Rita Hayworth in a scene from the Hollywood film Gilda from 1946. The production became one of her most iconic roles, highlighting her powerful presence and establishing her as one of the great film stars of the era. Seeing Spots. Naomi Campbell was photographed by Peter Lindbergh for the United States edition of Vogue in 1990. The shoot became one of the notable records of the model's career and of the photographer's creative work. Natalie Wood and James Dean, having fun on the set of Rebel Without a Cause in 1955. This was one of the most iconic films of the 1950s, and Dean, Wood, and Sal Mineo formed a strong bond during filming. Sean Connery on the way to a round of golf in 1962. The image shows the Scottish actor early in his fame as James Bond, enjoying one of his favorite pastimes, away from the film studios. The photo shows Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1979 in the weight room, looking at his reflection in the mirror while holding a dumbbell. This was a period shortly after his sixth Misters. Barbara Eden with her 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1 428 Cobra Jet. At her home in Los Angeles, the image shows the actress beside the sports car, an automotive icon of the era. Backstage at the first Miss Olympia in 1980, the competition focused on women's bodybuilding and marked an important moment in the sport's history, highlighting the strength and dedication of the athletes. Women surfers on the beach around the 1960s. The image shows athletes and surfing enthusiasts enjoying the waves at a time when the sport was gaining popularity and more participation by women. Tomorrowland at Disney in 1966. The image shows the themed area dedicated to futuristic visions, technological innovations, and space exploration at Disneyland in California during the 1960s. A McDonald's menu in 1970. The list offered a leaner selection than today, with classic items such as hamburger, cheeseburger, French fries, milkshake, and soft drinks, reflecting the beginning of the chain's global expansion. A soundproof isolator designed to help concentration at work, invented in 1925 by science fiction writer Hugo Gernsback. The device covered the user's head, blocking outside noise and allowing greater focus on tasks. The New York City Swimmobile in the 1970s. This project brought mobile pools to different neighborhoods, offering residents the chance to swim and cool off during the summer, especially in areas without easy access to aquatic recreation facilities. An air-conditioned lawn mower around 1950. The unusual machine combined gardening work with the comfort of an enclosed climate-controlled compartment for the operator. Amphibious bicycle. This land and water model, able to carry up to approximately 119 pounds, was seen in Paris in 1932. The vehicle combined wheels and floats, allowing movement on land and in water, and represented one of the curious creative inventions of the interwar period. Foot brushes, an unusual accessory that allowed a homemaker to read while scrubbing the floor. The device consisted of brushes attached to the feet, making it possible to clean the floor with simple walking motions, leaving the hands free for other activities. In the 1950s, this track was still used regularly, and images from the time showed newly produced cars driving against the backdrop of the Piedmont Mountains. Parking garage of the Marina Towers residential complex in Chicago. In 1963, the spiral structure was part of the skyscraper complex known for its distinctive and modern architectural design for the time. The heavy transporter, MAZ-7310, carries a tank for liquid hydrogen storage during the construction of the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics in 1962. An Army Sikorsky model helicopter was recorded during a transport operation on April 10, 1946. The aircraft carried 17 passengers, and the pilot demonstrating its lifting capacity for the time. Jersey Shore in 1905. Style: the Asbury Park Boardwalk and beach show visitors enjoying the shore and the leisure amenities of the time, which already made the place a popular tourist destination. San Francisco, Lombard Street, 1975. The image shows the famous winding street, known for its sharp curves and well-kept gardens, one of the most visited sites in the city. This would be a curious scene. Michael Jackson, at the height of his fame, visiting the set of the film The Goonies in 1984. The feature was being produced under the direction of Richard Donner. And since Jackson was friends with some crew members and with executive producer Steven Spielberg, it is not unlikely that he paid a visit. Carrigogunnel Castle, Ireland. The fortress, now in ruins, is located in County Limerick and dates back to the medieval period, being associated with historical events and local legends. F.E. Yates appears with his customized motorcycle recorded around the 1900s. The vehicle shows a design characteristic of the early 20th century, highlighting mechanical elements and handcrafted structure. The scene reflects the period when motorcycles began to become popular as a means of transport and technological innovation. Keeps the Mountain, a member of a Native American people, was recorded in a portrait in 1898. The image shows traditional clothing and adornments, preserving cultural and historical details of the period. Autochrome portrait of a woman from the province of Toledo, Spain, in 1924. A photograph by Jules Gervais Courtelemont used the pioneering color process of the time to capture details and tones in a vibrant way. Autochrome portrait of a woman from the province of Toledo, Spain, in 1924. A photograph by Jules Gervais Courtelemont used the pioneering color process of the time to capture details and tones in a vibrant way. A United States Postal Service stagecoach, powered by mules, recorded in Texas around 1907. The vehicle carried passengers along with the mail connecting communities in more remote areas. The photograph shows two young Estonian punks in 1980 wearing dark clothing, leather jackets, and big spiked hairstyles typical of the punk aesthetic of the time. This scene captures a striking moment of counterculture in Estonia, still under Soviet rule, when musical and visual movements such as punk. An early 20th century slumber party, quite different from modern sleepovers. Around 1910, photography was still a relatively special event. Fashion of the time would feature long nightgowns, puffed sleeves, and light fabrics, often with lace or ruffles. Selfies in 1954. Three young people get ready to take their pictures in a photo booth. The scene shows a moment of fun and spontaneity, reminding us that the wish to record memories and creative poses existed long before the smartphone era. Sophia Loren kisses her younger sister, Anna Maria Vigliani Ciccolone, in 1955. The black and white photograph captures a moment of affection between the two at an early stage of the Italian actress's career, who would become a film icon. Fashion models rest on a street corner in Milan, Italy, in 1951. The image shows a relaxed, behind-the-scenes moment of a shoot or show in one of the world capitals of fashion. Antonio for the British edition of Vogue, photographed by Norman Parkinson. The image is part of the striking work of the renowned fashion photographer, known for his creative and innovative style. Charles Chaplin received an honorary Academy Award from Jack Lemmon in 1972. It was his first time in the United States in 20 years, marking a historic return and moving the audience present. A British travel advertisement from 1907 compares Cornwall to Italy. The promotional piece highlighted landscape and climate similarities to attract tourists, presenting Cornwall as an equally charming destination, but closer for the British public. A car exits the drying oven after being painted at a General Motors factory in Oshawa, Canada, in 1959. The image shows part of the automotive production process of the time, highlighting finishing stages before final assembly. An electric street sweeper cleans the roadway in Berlin, Germany in 1907. The vehicle was part of the urban innovations of the time, designed to keep streets cleaner in an efficient and mechanized way. A Victorian family from the 1860s. The photograph shows 5 people posing in formal clothing, typical of the Victorian era, reflecting the style, the customs, and the elegance of the period. infant dresses on display in Detroit, Michigan, around 1912. The show was organized by the store Elliott, Taylor, and Wolfenden, located in the North Corridor, presenting styles of baby clothing from that time. Abandoned house in the parish of St. John the Baptist, Louisiana, 1938. Located in the Evergreen Wallace area, the residence dates to 1835, and at the time of the photo belonged to the liquidators of Canal Bank. Rockwall, Texas. In the early 1900s, the image portrays the town in its early 20th century years, showing buildings, streets, and features of small Texan communities of the time. A General Electric washing machine, and I really wanted one of these together with a helper wearing a matching dress. The scene likely shows a period advertisement or demonstration highlighting home appliances and coordinated domestic fashion. Lester Gaba created the realistic mannequin named Cynthia in 1932. Her career began to gain prominence after appearing in several photo shoots for Life magazine in 1937, becoming a well-known name for a few months. A sailor gets a tattoo on his arm in Virginia in 1939. The scene shows a tattooist applying the design, reflecting a tradition common among service members and seafarers of the time. Typist of the Future around 1970. The image shows a concept or prototype workstation equipped with technology advanced for the time, imagining what the office of the following years would be like. The first photograph showing the preparation of doner kebab in the Ottoman Empire in 1855, made by James Robertson. The image records the traditional method of roasting meat on a vertical spit that would become a popular dish in many parts of the world. This 1906 photo shows Walt Disney only 4 years old, beside his younger sister, Ruth Disney. They stand in front of a house numbered 1249, and the image carries the serious formal air common to children's photographs. Of the time since smiling for photos was not yet customary. A woman pushes a double baby carriage with 2 small children in Vilnius in 1972. The background shows residential buildings typical of the Soviet period, characterized by functionalist architecture and concrete blocks, common in cities of the Soviet Union during the 1960s and 1970s. Halloween, 1957. The image likely shows costumed children taking part in trick or treat in a typical post-war setting, when the holiday had already become widely popular in the United States as a community and family celebration. On the morning after the traffic system change, in Sweden vehicles began to drive on the right side of the road. The change took effect on September 3, 1967, and was known nationwide as H-Day. Charlie R. was one of the last London watchmen responsible for patrolling the city's streets at night. Many of these professionals were veterans who had taken part in the Battle of Waterloo. A scene inside the New York Stock Exchange building, one of the principal financial centers in the world. Officially opened in 1903. The place became a symbol of trading and investment activity in the United States. The City Hall Post Office building, located in New York, was completed in 1880 and served as an important postal center for the city. Its structure stood out for the architectural style of the period and for its location near administrative buildings. West 23rd Street in New York appears recorded around 1905. The thoroughfare was an important commercial and circulation point. Bringing together shops, offices, and urban transport, the scene preserves architectural elements typical of the early 20th century, reflecting the growth of the city. James Dawson of Shields Police was arrested for indecent exposure. The record was made at the North Station on June 9, 1902, and is part of the Tyne and Ware Archives and Museum's collections. Queen Sophia of Greece, 1915. The photograph shows the monarch seated on a throne, wearing a crown, an elegant dress, and jewelry, portraying the formality and prestige of Greek royalty in the early 20th century. The 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, with his cat around 1979. A photograph by Raghu Rai captures a simple and intimate moment, showing the Tibetan spiritual leader behind curtains holding his pet.